Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't think.
That ball is history. A walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate y'all rolling through however y'all may be listening, whether that is on 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player, or if you're listening on our YouTube channel, you can always watch all of our shows live as they happen at SA Sports Star on YouTube. You can like, subscribe, comment along with the shows. Rudolph Gonzalez, Miss Becky, both already in the bullpen. What's going on, guys? Appreciate y'all stepping through this evening as we get you ready for the end of the barren desert as it pertains to the NFL, because the Houston Texans have it reported in full for training camp, which means teams, the Bears, seeing as the Texans and Bears play in the first game in the Hall of Fame game on August 2nd. That's all coming very quickly. Cowboys report next Wednesday. The station will be live from Oxnard, California for a Best Bail Bonds training camp coverage starting next Monday, not this coming, but the following Monday, bringing you everything we can from Dak Prescott, Zach Martin, Micah Parsons, Tony Pollard, just some of the names we've had in the past, DeMarcus Lawrence. It's going to be a good time with great interviews to follow. So I will keep you apprised as to what's going on. And of course, guess what? We're going to have it all for you right there at sasportstar.com and our YouTube channel at sasportstar if you miss any of it. So make sure to follow us on social media, on YouTube, and on the website at sasportstar.com for everything when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys training camp coverage, brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds. But the Texans, first to report, and it's a lot of hype following this team based on the overachieving that they did last year, coming off of being one of the worst teams in the NFL and going to first in the division, winning a playoff game, having the offensive and defensive rookies of the year, and then parlaying that with the offseason they have with the Azeez Al-Shairs, with the Danico Autry's, with the Danielle Hunters, trading for Joe Mixon, trading for Stephon Diggs, extending Nico Collins. The moves that they made this offseason to put themselves into a position to succeed and go further, despite the fact that their schedule is going to be a lot tougher this coming year, as John McClain just said on the Blitz a few moments ago. But head coach D'Amico Ryans was asked about how you can build off of last year and the success that they had. And he said, each year, everything starts brand new.
As we open up our 2024 camp and for this season, everything starts new for us. It's about building a solid foundation, right? If you want to do anything great, it starts with the foundation. You want to build anything great and grand, it starts with the foundation. And that's what camp is about. So I'm truly excited about being able to get started today. It's day one. As I told our guys, we have a lot of room for improvement. And my expectations and what I expect to see from everyone, all of our guys, just let's get a little bit better each day. Right, if we get a little bit better each day, right, we'll be exactly where we want to be. And that starts with guys, their mindset of just showing up on purpose, showing up with the right attitude, right, being a great teammate, guys being resilient no matter what we face, whether it's weather, right, it's injuries, it's the tough days of camp, whatever we face, you got to be able to overcome it, sustain, and push through. And I just want all of our guys to just show up with a competitive spirit, right? And that's what, if everybody shows up that way, like, we'll be just fine.
And the consistent theme is, and you can tell whether it's on NFL Network, Fox, CBS Sports, ESPN, every station is talking about the Texans as a sleeper, as a darling, as a favorite because of the moves that they made. And so with what they've done last year and the moves they made this offseason, there comes increased expectations from the outside. And D'Amico Ryans acknowledged those high expectations that are being placed upon this team.
When we talk about expectations for the season and what that means, it all starts internally for each and every guy on the field. Like, what do you expect for yourself? And that's what I asked our guys yesterday. It's not about what people say on the outside. That doesn't change who you are. It's about who you think you are. What do you think you can achieve and accomplish as a player? Right. That's the only thing that matters to me. And the expectations are always driven internally. So if our guys think high of themselves, we'll go high. And that's how I want guys thinking.
And that was a theme throughout today at Media Day, because the increased expectations were something a lot of players were asked about, including Will Anderson Jr.
Yeah, coach hit it on the head yesterday, man. And I know just from the players, man, like the expectation is always going to be the expectation. Like nobody on the outside is going to have a bigger expectation than on the inside of the building. And right now, our expectation is just building a tall building, man. But it starts with our foundation of coming out here, getting 1% better, everybody keeping their head down and just working.
CJ Stroud, one of the other leaders in that of those players, on those expectations that they're going to face.
Just work, that's all it's about. It's just working. And, either you do it or you don't. We're the ones on the field that got to go figure it out. And, I think we'll do that. We've been playing ball since we've been kids. And, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be harder. We have a target on our back this year. And, that's how you should want it, and that's what I'm used to playing at Ohio State. And, I'm really, honored and blessed to have the teammates that I do to want that challenge and for guys that want to come and play here because, this Texan team isn't for everybody. It's hard here. And, we're blessed enough to play a game that we've been playing since we've been kids. So, I definitely do think that all the expectations, if we just work, everything will take care of itself. The story's already written. So,
and one of the breakout stars from last year, Nico Collins, on how this team is dealing with those expectations.
I feel like for us, man, it's just going out and do what we've been doing. Play the game we've been playing our whole life. It's a lot of expectations for us, but I feel like for us, man, you got to block out the noise. Remember the mission, remember our goal. Take one day at a time, man, and just be ourselves. I feel like you can't jump at the end of the season. We ain't even there yet. You got to see about tomorrow, day after that. So I feel like for us, man, just keep stacking, keep building. The rest fall in place.
And that tells me, because you've heard it from so many people consecutively, that D'Amico Ryans has addressed this issue throughout the offseason, and this was a foundation that they started to lay last year. The expectations start with their own expectations, and those expectations are day by day. And we heard this parroted last year throughout the beginning of training camp and the offseason, and they were laying bricks, and you kept hearing them talk about the way that they were building and the expectations that they had for themselves. And they knew what those were. The outside world did not know what those were. And they envisioned themselves in the playoffs, and they got there. So this is a team that is going to set its own goals and really block out the noise of the outside world and live in their own spectrum, it feels like. And they did a really good job of that last year, and they are saying similar things on a very distinct internal frequency. And you could tell that D'Amico Ryans has really cultivated that locker room to preach a singular goal that they are all striving to achieve towards. And as part of what D'Amico likes to call the swarm mentality. We'll go further inside Houston Texans training camp and SEC Media Days with our next guest, Cole Thompson, the managing editor at Texans Wire and host of SEC Unfiltered. He is going to join us next with the latest from Houston Texans training camp, where he was today, and SEC Media Days. That's coming up next here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1 FM, San Antonio Sports Star.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code KIND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code KIND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code KIND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
As you know, summertime is here. And for most people, that means more activities, more golf, more biking, more of whatever you love to do. But if you're dealing with minor aches and pains, your more could become less. This is why I'm here to tell you about Relief Factor. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that helps fight pain naturally. For instance, I was sent Relief Factor to try, and I've been taking it every single day. I'll tell you what, I feel the difference every day. You see, instead of masking your pain, Relief Factor's formula is designed to help reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free, and it's been a game changer for so many people. So let's get after it this summer. Let's feel good. Let's do more of the things that we love to do. Don't let pain keep you down. Give Relief Factor a try and save on your first order. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6580. That's 800-583-6580.
With Progressive Snapshot, you could save on auto insurance rates by driving safely, which is great because you're rarely rewarded for just being you. Ever get rewarded for being left-handed? No. You get to use weird scissors. Your reward for being a Capricorn? Cold birthdays that conflict with the holidays. And your reward for quickly responding to every work email? More emails. But with Snapshot, even left-handed Capricorns with proper email etiquette could get rewarded for good driving. So download the Progressive app today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates. Snapshot not available in all states except for all agents.
Have we been tricked, burdened with debt, and made to feel like we have no other options? And with prices skyrocketing all over the country, credit card debt, medical bills, and other unsecured debt that were once manageable now feel impossible to pay back. So how do we fix it? With Accredited Debt Relief, you can consolidate your debt into one affordable monthly payment, which could save you hundreds of dollars a month. No matter if you have $25, $50, or even $100,000 of debt, a debt specialist can create a personalized plan customized to your budget. Accredited Debt Relief has helped over 300,000 Americans to get out of over $1 billion of debt, and you could be next. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and thousands of 5-star reviews, Accredited Debt Relief is committed to helping those who feel tricked get out of the never-ending cycle of debt. Call 855-432-7266 to start your free consultation today. That's 855-432-7266. 855-432-7266. Program and services not available in all states.
The NFL is on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
That is right. The NFL is on. We are your home for it and the Dallas Cowboys. And there is no team that is getting media love the way the Houston Texans are right now, which is why I bring on my next guest, Cole Thompson. He is the managing editor of Texans Wire and the host of SEC Unfiltered. And with both Texans training camp starting today and with SEC Media Days going all week and concluding today, I thought there was no better person to bring in. You can follow him on X at Mr. Cole Thompson. That's Mr. Cole Thompson. Cole, how you been, my friend?
Buddy, let's just get this out of the way, Pledge. I would not be coming on the radio shows after everything has concluded today if it wasn't for you and it wasn't for my favorite city in all of Texas, San Antonio. So I'm good. It's been a wonderful time. I've literally lost my mind with the lack of sleep and how much caffeine has been running through my body the last 4 days. But you know what? That is what makes media awesome. That is why I do what I do, to give the people what they're asking for. More coverage of Texas that was not ever responded or needed from the get-go.
Are you at least running at full power? Because I know half of Houston had not been for a long period of time.
I am good. We are at power. Thank you for everyone who has reached out and sent condolences, heartfelt prayers and responses. There was many people that I knew that were without power going into the last weekend. They still have gotten power back. In over a span of, I think it was 5 days, we saw over 1.5 million residents finally get power back. So to all those who were liners, people who worked in the power industry that were driving up here and finding places to sleep in their cars and not having the best of care, from one Houstonian, I would just like to say thank you for your service and giving back to your state. It has been nothing short of a blessing for how many people have gotten power back, and it's almost back to full capacity within the span of less than 2 weeks.
He is Cole Thompson, Texans Wire, SEC Unfiltered. Follow him on X at Cole Thompson. He joins us via the Buyers Barricades guest line. First things first, out at Texans training camp, you've seen them through now mini camps, OTAs, and training camp now through their first day. What are some initial takeaways from this team that you have witnessed through this evolution? Because the one talking point I have heard a lot through this offseason is Kamari Lassiter starting to look like him.
Yeah, Kamari lost both of his reps today to Tank Dell. So this is not probably the best time to be talking about Kamari Lassiter. But here's the thing. You never define a player based off of one bad rep or one great rep. So we got time to see what the Georgia product can do. And I think that he's going to be a stud. My main takeaway is that this is a team that has no ego whatsoever. And you know what? They could. They honestly could have an ego based off what they did last year, where kind of like West Virginia, Neil Brown putting up double bird at Big 12 Media Days. You get the same thing with the Texans. Nobody expected them to be much. People ridicule Nick Caserio for trading away trading away future draft capital for Will Anderson. Last laugh went to the defensive rookie of the year and the GM, who probably deserved executive. But they brought in some dudes. I mean, Pro Bowler at running back Joe Mixon, who still has a ton left in the tank. I think you bring in a guy like Stephon Diggs, you know what you get attitude-wise. There has been zero conversation of that. They also brought in Danielle Hunter, who has been one of the more underappreciated defenders in the NFL the last 8 years. He's coming off of 23 and a half tackles for losses and 16.5 sacks, both top 5 in the NFL last year. And you would never be able to tell it. They all are trying to learn. They're all trying to build one cohesive balance and identity. And I think that's a big blessing for an organization that wants to only continue to see progress instead of regression. And it's going to be a challenge, James. I mean, you know this as well as I do, man. You get a first place schedule, and you trade out the NFC South schedule to the NFC North with 5 primetime games and also 3 matchups back to back within an 11-day period. You better have no egos. You better check it at the door. And I think that's been a big thing for Houston so far. They also seem to be healthy. You know, even though they don't have a Laremy Tunsil right now, I think the crazy part is that you're seeing great results from Blake Fisher, the second-round pick out of Notre Dame. Having Titus Howard back is a huge win for them. The only player that really has been missing time that may be a concern is the tight end the fullback Andrew Beck. And they got 3 guys that are going to be competing for reps at that spot. So, you know, right now, the health of the team status, I think, has been a big blessing in disguise.
Yeah, and I think one of the signings this offseason that flies a little bit under the radar, but you hear players talking about it a lot, especially recently Jalen Petrie mentioned him, Azeez Al-Shaair, and his familiarity with the system with D'Amico Ryans from his time in San Francisco together, but also just the player he is as well with what he did in Tennessee.
Yeah, this was a guy that last year could have joined the Texans on a 1-year deal, and it would have been probably good enough to where they would have signed him back on a long-term extension. But he wanted to prove to himself that he could be the leader that wasn't attached to D'Amico at the hip. So he signs a bigger deal with Tennessee. It's a 1-year contract. It's a defense that is underneath a great mind in Mike Vrabel, who, again, somehow, some way, things just didn't pan out down in Nashville for him, and now he's looking for a job. But he showed that he could work in multitude of defenses. The thing that makes Azeez Al-Shaair stand out so emphatically has nothing to actually do with his on-field play. It's his ability to diagnose each position. So when he was in San Francisco, he was the third linebacker, which meant he had to learn how to play Sam. He had to learn how to play Mike. He had to learn how to play Will. He had to learn how to blitz. He had to learn how to play in coverage. So he is a chess piece that is going to only benefit the Texans, because when they move him around, what's going to happen is if they feel uncomfortable with Christian Harris or there's injury towards Harris, they can move him to the Will backer spot and allow a guy like Henry To'oTo'o to step up. Or maybe it's the 5th-round pick Jamal Hill comes in at the mic. It's so much position flexibility with basically jack of all trades, maybe master of none mentality, that you feel confident regardless of who is that other linebacker. Al-Shaair is going to pick up the pace. And again, last season, he not only had 163 tackles, which is impressive on its own feet, but his missed tackles went down dramatically from 7.2 to 2.3. He did not miss. So if you caught him in the open field, you had one shot to go ahead and make him dive. And if you didn't, you were going down.
You're pairing him with a Christian Harris, and that really helps out that linebacking core and that front 7, especially with the additions they've already made.
Yeah, I would say so. I think the big question mark is also be, what do you feel about the defensive tackle spot? Because, yeah, they do have good names on the outside with Danielle Hunter, Danico Autry, who's a multi-chess piece at this point in his career. He started off as a defensive tackle, then he moved to defensive end, but it was a 3-4 formation. So really he still was playing at about defensive tackle weight. They really did a good job last year of blitzing up the middle. And that was a big thing that D'Amico Ryans wanted, was having agile defensive tackles on the interior. Well, Sheldon Rankins is gone. You traded away Malik Collins. You used the pick to go get Joe Mixon. Do you have to trust a guy like Azeez Al-Shaair to play closer to the line of scrimmage? And if so, how does that change the course of tackles for losses? How does that change the course of preparation? Do maybe you decide to move a guy like Jalen Petrie down into the nickel? That way you kind of have that extra linebacker in that coverage second level of defense. what's going to be that case? But it's going to be really interesting to see how he combats opposite of Christian Harris, who really kind of took strides last year toward the season's end. There might have not been a better defender who saw the most progress than Harris last year. And what's so interesting is that if you look, Pledge, the last 3 times that D'Amico Ryans worked as a linebacker, the first year they saw progress. The second year, it was a really strong season. And then year 3, all-pro status. Go take a look at a guy such as Fred Warner, who decided to flourish in 2020.
He is Cole Thompson of Texans Wire. Follow him on X at Mr. Cole Thompson. Moving over to the offensive side of the ball, which is getting all the rave reviews and accolades, which it should, based on the moves they've made and what it showed last year with its capability. 2-part question. What is the potential of this offense? Can it be stopped? And can you keep everyone happy?
Let's start off with the last part of the question. No, you can't keep everyone happy. And the reason why is because everyone is a diva in the NFL, whether they want to admit it or not. They all have egos. They all want to be the number one. But what's interesting is that CJ Stroud at the start of the offseason said, we have 5 number 1 wide receivers. Basically saying that Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, John Mechie, who had a great day of practice today, and everyone was raving about him and his progression, and Robert Woods / Noah Brown all could be legit number 1 guys. Plus, you also throw in Dalton Schultz, a tight end that was a security blanket last year, and you throw in Cade Stover, the 4th-round pick and former go-to red zone target of Stroud at Ohio State, and you throw in Brevin Jordan. Like, you can't make everybody happy. But at the same time, something that Stroud said today was, we can be a 5-man attack that is just lethal as all hell. And on top of that, you can only be not just be a 5-headed monster, you got to be a 5-headed monster that finds your way to get open. Stroud was very adamant at the start of the offseason talking about how this is a team where I'm not going to play favorites. If you get open on a Sunday, you may lead the team in receptions. The next day, you may have 3 targets, and that might just be it. And you're going to have to accept that. It's your job and responsibility to create opportunities for me to find you. It's my job when you get open to target you. And so if they have that understanding, then I think that everyone's going to be able to enjoy where they are. I think that when you talk about keeping this team in terms of unstoppable, that feels, I don't know if there is a team that's unstoppable, if I'm being completely
It's a little bit hyperbole.
Like even Patrick Mahomes can be stopped. It's really hard to do because of number 15 is a guy that wasn't built on this planet. But at the same time, I mean, like, you can stop him if you find a way. Like week 1 last year, Detroit had all the answers, and their secondary was average to below average at best throughout the year. So it's like, you can find a way to stop them. The question is, how do you do it? Because you can't do any double teams. If you double team Tank Dell, you're leaving Nico Collins wide open. And if you double team Nico Collins, well, Stephon Diggs is down the slot, and he's such a good route runner and refined, pristine pass catcher that you can't just try to leave him with a single man coverage against a rookie. You got 2 tight ends that are really talented. You got a running back in Joe Mixon that I don't understand why people are sleeping on him. The guy still had 1,000 yards last year. He averaged over 4 yards per play. He played behind a makeshift offensive line that had questions galore, even after the signing of Orlando Brown. And he also had 50 catches. Yeah. Like, he adds incredible value to the squad. So I just look at the roster top to bottom. It's going to be stoppable on days, but they are coming off of finishing 13th in spring and 7th in passing. You might see both of them raise about 3 spots. So now they're talking about 4th in passing and top 10 in scoring.
The other interesting thing that I really want to know what your perception is of early thoughts, I guess, of Kenyon Green as he comes back, because one thing that CJ Stroud never really had last year was a cohesive offensive line unit. I remember in the Pittsburgh game, they were starting 5 different starters than the opening day projection. And actually, I think they ended up getting 8 deep at one point during the game. It was a mash unit for a lot of the season that started to solidify itself a little bit as the season went on, but you lost, people that were playing well, like Jarrett Patterson for the year. And it was just it felt like a constant rotation, and it really speaks to CJ Stroud to be able to play through that strife of that kind of rotating offensive line that would probably throw off most young quarterbacks.
The part that's really going to be interesting to me, and what it really comes down to is Stroud, you got to realize he didn't have the offensive line that some of these other rosters had. And on top of that, he didn't know who was coming out every week. Like, there were times where Laramie Tunsil would not practice and he would be on the injury report, and you go, is he going to play? And you would text him and you text his people and go, yes, he's going to play. But you would wonder, is he going to be out there? And is he going to be at full speed, which might make Stroud's rookie season that much more impressive than it already was. The Kenyon Green standpoint, the thing that Nick Caserio wanted him to focus on this offseason, and D'Amico Ryans as well, was getting in football shape, but also getting in football stamina. You could tell at times that not only was he not being able to win blocks because of his frame, he wasn't able to win blocks because of his overall lethargicness. And so he got on the diet regimen. He was training up north in Oregon with Ndamukong Suh this offseason, which I think was a big blessing in disguise to be able to go up against those type of pass rushers, especially in the interior like guard needs to. He looks a lot leaner. He still is weighing over 340 pounds, but it's a lean 340, which is a good thing. You want that in a guard. He looks like he's more agile. He looks like when he's coming out of breaks, he's keeping a low center of gravity and able to win at the point of attack when it comes to hand placement. Titus Howard is back now, coming off a knee injury. You know, that's a concern because if you did extend him last year to a 3-year contract worth $56 million and you're hoping that he can't stay healthy. You also don't have Laramie Tunsil right now, but he is expected to be there for the start of week 1. D'Amico said today there's going to be time periods where players will miss extended weeks because of potential injuries. We don't want to hurt them before they can actually help themselves, which again is a good thing. Shaq Mason was the only dude to play every single snap last year in the offensive line. Like, that says really where this team resided when it came to trench play. And so if you get a healthy offensive line, I think what's going to happen is you're going to see a more stable run game. You're going to see a more complete, cohesive balance of a passing attack. I think that everyone wants to focus in on so much of Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon's arrival, when you really have to focus in on the arrival of a healthy unit that is going to be playing at an all-time high. And if you get that, then that only makes your team that much more substantial.
He is Cole Thompson of Texans Wire. Read his stuff there. He is also the host of SEC Unfiltered as we finished up media days this week with the Aggies today. And first impressions of Mike Elko at media day as the new head coach of the Texas A&M Aggies.
If I could say this without coming off rude in any way, if you told me that Mike Elko was the head coach at Texas and Steve Sarkisian was the head coach at Texas A&M, I wouldn't believe you. Like, is there been a better fit for coaches in terms of persona of what you envision teams? Because that's what Mike Elko is. And honestly, it's a breath of fresh air that you get a guy that is just completely a 180 than Jimbo Fisher, which might end up actually being a good thing because you got to realize that Fisher had one defining season of quality play, and it even then wasn't a double-digit victory year. They've had one double-digit win season since joining the SEC in 2012. But he is a no-nonsense type of pick-up-your-lunch pail type of guy, and let's get to work. We know that we have a great identity on staff, but what's really interesting when it comes to Elko is because of his experience at Texas A&M as a defensive coordinator, there were times where he kind of came off passive-aggressive about ways that they utilize players that he helped recruit. And he kind of sat there like, well, if we did things this way with this player, maybe a win could have happened. Maybe we would have seen 8-4 instead of 7-5. Maybe you would have seen 9-3 or 10-2, and you would have been a playoff team if you used them that way. So it feels like a little bit of unfinished business with him. There is a mentality of we know that we haven't lived up to expectations the way that we should have, but also that there is an accountability internally in the locker room. You know, you heard Trey Zune and Shamar Turner talk about there being accountability for meetings, for press conference, for practices, showing up on time, you being held to your standard the way that you want to be held to a standard at an SEC level, for you to earn the right to be considered a rising team You have to do the bare minimum in practice to carry that mentality, which again has been a night and day difference from Jimbo Fisher. So A&M, I don't want to go ahead and put the wagon before the horse because I do that way too much. Like A&M is one of those squads where it feels like kind of, and I say this as kindly as possible, the Dallas Cowboys, they'll always put the wagon ahead of the horse, and then finally they'll lose a game that they probably should win, like Appalachian State or, like beating Washington. And it's never right. It's never fair. So I don't want to go ahead and say that they're going to be a team this year that goes 9-3 or 10-2. I'd much rather be proven wrong. But I do believe that they have the right guy at the helm. They have the right coach. They have the right mentality. And you know what's incredible, Pledge, is that they have the facility that's right on par with Texas, with LSU, with Georgia, with Alabama. The difference between those four programs that have all gone to a college football playoff and three have won a national title since 2014 is they've had the right coach and Texas A&M hasn't. I think they finally crossed that one off the list as well.
What do they need? Because I thought when Elko was coming that Riley Leonard was coming with them. And now instead they're going to have to face him in the opening game against Notre Dame. What do you see in Connor Wegman that he's a guy that you can project from like the 5th mid-round to a first-round projection in NFL drafts, and he's highly recruited coming out. What does he have to do to make that ascension to what his potential is?
All right, so I'm going to say this
other
real
than
fast.
Stay healthy.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Plus, I'm going to say this real fast, and I want everyone to listen. Anybody that calls that kid injured prone after one injury in his entire career, I have no idea where you come up with that malarkey. He had 1 foot injury because the offensive line was a turnstile underneath Steve Adazio. I don't care about being politically correct when it comes to Steve Adazio. That guy was not meant to be to be an offensive line coach. It felt like he was just funneling it in, and it cost A&M a 5-7 finish, and it cost them a 7-5 finish and a really good quarterback. It's not about staying healthy, in my opinion. It's about being able to work in a brand new offensive system. The way that Bobby Petrino ran his passing attack is going to completely differ from the motion option of what Colin Klein likes to do from his time at Kansas State. And I don't think that the mobility thing is going to be something that Klein has to really indoctrinate in a player like Connor Wegman, because if that's not his MO, he is a pocket passing guy that you want behind the line of scrimmage, surveying the field, maybe extending a play a little bit outside the pocket and delivering strikes 30 yards downfield. But in my opinion, what this really comes down to is having a great understanding and a relationship with the motion and having an ideal option before the line of scrimmage. Pre-snap motion being a really big deal, being able to survey what the defense is providing for you, have an option to where you know where your number one receiver is going to be on that play, and then deliver clean strikes and don't have a second guess. Last year, you saw at times where if he held the ball a little bit too long, whether it was because there was nobody getting open or the offensive line wasn't giving him enough time, he would throw under duress. And young quarterbacks will sometimes try to throw it into a small window instead of hit the reset button and go back to the huddle. And that led to a couple of turnovers. But when he was a freshman and he started the last 4 games, he had an 8-0 touchdown to interception ratio. So the talent's there, the arm strength is there, the accuracy is there. The health is not a concern for me. He got his foot completely destroyed by Auburn in week 4, and he had to go undergo reassemble his foot. So it's one of those things where if he can just stay behind the sturdiest offensive line, they're in a good spot. They got a good run game. You know, a lot of people are going to sleep on this run game, but Le'Veon Moss and Ruben Owens are 2 plug-and-play additions that I think most teams would love to have in their backfield. And you also have Amari Daniels. You get back Donovan Green at tight end, who missed all of last season with the torn ACL. So that's a tight end play that is going to be, I think, an upgrade over Max Wright from what you had last year. If the offensive line has stableness, then I think Texas A&M is going to have one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. But right now, it's still too early to project. I don't like doing these rankings where we talk about upside, like Nico Iamaleava, Jackson Arnold. I think that they're both going to be studs. I think Lenore Sellers in South Carolina is going to be awesome. But I have them in my QB rankings as the wait and see, because I need to wait and see what happens. Because I already know what I'm going to get in Carson Beck and Jalen Milroe. I think I could get that in a guy like Connor Wegman. I also think I could get a chance where maybe we see Jalen Henderson come back out.
You know, I can't let you go without talking about the Texas Longhorns making their move into the SEC. So will this first season for them in the SEC be a rude awakening, or has Sark strategically built and prepared for this moment with this team?
All right, let's get this out of the way. Texas is going to get a rude wake-up call when it comes to facing defensive lines. They are 100% going to realize that when you wake up on a Sunday morning, it will not feel the same after you played a Baylor or a TCU or a West Virginia or an Iowa State in any year besides 2021 or a Kansas. It won't be that way. But you also have to realize Steve Sarkisian built up an offensive line that was built for the SEC. He was not recruiting players that were committing to play in the Big 12. He was getting guys that would have gone to LSU, Texas A&M, Alabama, even Oklahoma, if you really want to say it, Ole Miss, Florida. They were always the guys that were on the radar, and he's got a great coach that understands offensive line play in Kyle Flood. The thing that really stands out about Texas to me is just the continuity at the coordinator position. It's still the same DC and Pete Kwiatkowski since he got hired. It's still the same offensive coordinator in Kyle Flood, even though Sark is the main offensive play caller. It still is Jeff Banks on special teams. There is so much cohesion going into this year that where they don't have to worry about a drop-off in terms of what are the expectations in the locker room, where you had to wonder what was going to be the likes for Alabama every few years because a coordinator got promoted to head coach in the SEC. Sark also went in the portal and got some really interesting dudes that are not getting talked about enough. Like Isaiah Bond, cool story, 4th and 31. I get it. People are hyping him up like he is going to be the second coming of Limas Swede. Remember the name Silas Bolden. This is a guy that is going to be a joystick in the open field from Oregon State. He reminds me so much of what Xavier Worthy provided for this offense last year and on special teams. Defensively, you bring over Trey Moore, which I know San Antonio people know about him because he just won AAC Defensive Player of the Year. And unfortunately, he's probably going to be the reason why UTSA loses to Texas in week 3. But they also got Andrew Makuba. They also got a really good defensive tackle in Bill Norton out of Arizona. So he's gone out and he's added in the right pieces on both sides of the ball to where it does a little bit feel like instead of retooling, they just regrouped and said, we're going to make a statement year 1 in the SEC. They're going to drop a game because, unfortunately, until I see otherwise, Texas is going to play down to the level of competition for somebody. But the beauty of this is that even if they don't go to Atlanta in year 1, they are still going to be a favorite to the college football playoff. They have an offense headlined by a great line, a stellar backfield in C.J. Baxter and Jaden Blue, a quarterback that probably is going to be as good as advertised in Quinn Ewers, even though it is in the SEC and people are going to make fun of him for not being able to live up to all the expectations when he first arrived in Austin. But he threw 3 touchdowns against Alabama in house that Nick Saban built, so he's mentally prepared for this. They're going to still be a playoff team. And if they end up having the offense that I think if they can, they're going to be a playoff team that nobody wants to face on Saturday. And especially if that game is being held at DKR, people don't realize that even though DKR may not be at the same level of Cathedral of Chaos as Tuscaloosa or maybe even Kyle Field or some other places, it still is a great atmosphere on game day that you are not going to be wanting to be walking into on the belly of the beast on a Saturday.
He is Cole Thompson. He is the host of SEC Unfiltered and the managing editor at Texans Wire. Cole, thank you for your time today.
Yeah, pleasure as always. I always will do whatever you ask me to do. Talk to you later.
Appreciate you, my friend. You have a great one. Follow him on Twitter or on X at Mr. Cole Thompson. That's Mr. Cole Thompson. He joins us via the Buyers Barricades guest line. They provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond. They are online at buyersbarricades.com. When we come back, the San Antonio Spurs, how good can possibly be this upcoming year? That and your phone calls. We'll take them next right here on San Antonio Sports Star at 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
94.1.
Gomez Law Firm has been taking care of the people of San Antonio for almost 50 years, the leader in personal injury law. Jose, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
We do ride-sharing cases, 18-wheeler cases. Obviously, we've done those for very many years. Work injuries. We will be happy to take a look at and see if we can help.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then you need to visit joegomezlaw.com.
We've been around for almost 50 years, and we're not going anywhere.
Call the Gomez Law Firm at 736-4040.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-372-2017. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-372-2017. 800-372-2017. 800-372-2017.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Grainger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgrainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Okay, if you're sleeping on the hot summer styles and great prices at Kohl's, you're missing out. I just shopped there and scored stylish shirts for my husband, along with some cute crochet dresses for myself. Plus, I saved 30% with my Kohl's card. But even if you don't have one, you can still save an extra 20% on some other great finds and earn Kohl's cash. So what are you waiting for? Take your summer style from hot to sizzling and get to Kohl's. Select styles, 20% off GPO, valid through July 21st. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Buyers Barricades is proud to provide traffic control, rental, and sales for work zones and events in the San Antonio area and beyond. Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. Learn more online at buyersbarricades.com. That's buyersbarricades.com.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Timmy, everybody. Great job. Next up for our 5th grade class recital, we have Samantha.
10 times better performance can make a big difference. Castrol Edge Motor Oil gives your engine 10 times better high-stress performance. Castrol Edge, better oil for maximum performance. Now through December 28th, Castrol Edge and Edge High Mileage Motor Oil are on rollback at Walmart.
Claim based on sequence design test under high-load conditions versus API SP test limits.
Have a question or need how-to advice? Just ask Meta AI. Whether you need to summarize your class notes or want to create a recipe with the ingredients you already have in your fridge, Meta AI has the answers. You can also research topics, explore interests, and so much more. It's the most advanced AI at your fingertips. Expand your world with Meta AI. Now on Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, and Messenger.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
The countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
It's Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
All right. Because he knows how to rile me up. Same way I did Joe earlier today on the Blitz. How good can the Spurs be? The Spurs can be as good as Wemby is. That's the short answer to that. They could be as great as Wemby is. Problem is, the rest of the West, sans a couple of teams, also got better. So how individually great Wemby is probably how great the Spurs are going to be this year. And from the looks of it, from the way he ended last year, from the way he's playing in the Olympics, that could be very, very good. But Caitlin Clark set a record last night with 19 assists, 29 points, 19 assists. And Michael Jimenez in here just stirring bleep up with his affinity for Angel Reese and her rebounding her own shots. Says, why is Caitlin Clark such a turnover machine? Because she had a turnover late in the game that basically ended the game. Focusing on the singular instance and not the whole body of work. And the fact that, A, the turnovers have gone down throughout the year. B, she is obviously playing better than she did at the beginning of the year. The trajectory has gone up for her in terms of her play, her shooting percentage, turnover percentage. All of those things are going well. And her percentage of turnovers per passes is actually not as high as you would think it is. Because she facilitates so much of the offense. Her actual percentage is not as high as the actual turnovers represent because of how much she is to that team. But let's focus on the one turnover at the end of the game where she basically got boxed and won at the top of the key. Look, Caitlin Clark is individually just impressive in terms of what she has done on the court and for the game. The Indiana Fever have the top 9 highest viewed games in the WNBA this season via viewership. The Indiana Fever as a whole have quadrupled their home attendance. They average 17,000, over 17,000. Those are NBA type numbers. And let's go even further back, all the way back to the last 4 games that Caitlin Clark played in the women's NCAA tournament, which were the 4 highest rated NCAA women's tournament games. Caitlin Clark is dragging the WNBA into the spotlight. And now the NBA is giving them $200 million a year. And they're going to get a TV contract that is going to raise salaries and do everything that this league has been hoping for. And yes, other players laid the floor. Other players have helped to build this mansion. Angel Reese is part of the growth of this sport. But to think any of what they've done without Caitlin Clark would be possible because of her individual play on the court, you're out of your mind. The one thing that I find shocking is that she turned down the 3-point contest for All-Star Weekend. And she has every right to, because she has been on a nonstop path since before the start of the season. I mean, it went NCAA tournament draft, started the WNBA season. Like, she has just been go, 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 go. She's got the All-Star break this weekend. Luckily, when the Olympics start, she'll have a little bit of some time off. And as the game is slowed down for her, obviously, this second half of the season after this break could be very, very special to watch. Caitlin Clark is bringing women's sports into the forefront, and congratulations to her for that. This is Extra Innings with Pleasure. I appreciate y'all for stopping by today. We'll see you tomorrow when we close out the week here on San Antonio Sports Star.
Every business faces challenges, but complicated, expensive, and uncertain shipping shouldn't be one of them.
With USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service, you can avoid all the noise.
No more unexpected surcharges, hidden fees, or complex rate structures.
It's just easy,